welcome to the National University podcast. My name is Samantha Wilcox, and I am your host for today's talk. Joining us is Dr. Amy Riggle, Associate Vice President in the Office of Graduate Studies at National University. Dr. Riggle will be speaking with NU graduate Dr. Michael Arrigotti. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
We're excited to hear your chat today. Well, Dr. Riggle, let's jump in. I'll pass the baton to you.
Thanks, Sam. So, Michael, again, so happy that you're joining us today. But I want you to kind of think back and try to tell us, what were some of the reasons why you decided to complete your doctorate? What were those compelling thoughts, feelings, ideas that led you to say, hey, I want to attack this doctorate thing?
Absolutely. Well, I think it really comes from when I was a kid. I always thought and looked up to people who were really good and really passionate at what they do. And, whether that was a lawyer, somebody who's gone to school to be a medical doctor, I just really, really thought it was awesome that they were able to go and put all their time and effort and their passion into something. So, leaving, just kind of undergrad, I went off and got my master's. And also I'm a full-time teacher right now. And a lot of teachers like to go and just get credits towards something maybe they're not passionate about, just to get up on the pay scale. So some people may go into administration, or some people may and go and pick up a tech licensure. But for me, I really wanted to find something that I continue going down a road of something that I'm passionate about. And so I started to look around for other programs of things that are interesting to me, and I saw NCU pop up. And so I felt that this was my avenue, my road to go and increase my education in areas that I'm really interested in. This dissertation was really, hey, what do you want to research? And also, it was still able to pertain to special education, which I'm extremely passionate about. So, I would say that those are the main reasons. Is to, the first one is I just didn't want to find anything that I just wanted to do just to get paid more. And the second one is just because I'm really passionate and I wanted to go find something that challenges me, also helps me allow to share the things that I research and I'm passionate about at a much higher level. So, those are probably the main reasons as to why I chose the doctorate experience here.
So Michael, I can hear the word passionate, and I could feel the passion. I attended, your oral defense of your dissertation, and you are extremely passionate about education, about special education, and what's your role in improving the lives of other students. So you are Mr. Passionate. So kind of keeping that passionate thing kind of going here. Tell me a little bit about why you chose NCU, which is now national. What made you say, I want to go with this university for my doctorate?
Yeah, it's an overwhelming process, Dr. Riggle, once you're starting to look and everything, because there's just so many places and over your head, you're just like, wow, this is going to be a very difficult process. And so what do? I went around and I looked for feedback. I searched the internet of what people thought about, different programs, and specifically I was in a Facebook group for teachers, and I found a lot of people were loving NCU. There's, two other ones that I did some phone calls with and did some research and everything. But, NCU, I just gravitated towards it because it was just a very friendly experience. And, where, people would follow up with you, my beginning academic advisor, before I started the program was very transparent with me. And so that was really important to me, especially when, you're going to go and make a big investment.
Yeah.
Yep. I think the second thing was the scholarship opportunity. The most important thing, I saw an opportunity for a full ride and I took it. I took a very big risk and, they gave me the option, which I also love too, was to make a video or write an essay. Well, for me, I love videos for doing this right now. And it was a way that I could go and lay out all of my cards on the table. And so, again, I felt home at NCU because it really did kind of feel like a family aspect to me, where they're calling in and they're checking on me, making sure that I'm going through my classes and I'm not having any difficulty. The finances too, making sure that even though I did get the full ride, just kind of keeping me up to date here, saying, hey, well, don't forget this, don't forget that. And so I felt like I needed that. I needed that reassurance. So just overall, Dr. Riggle, I really chose NCU because I felt like, we both were coming to each other, in a sense. So, it just made my experience so great, and I wouldn't change a darn thing.
Excellent. Now, I remember you won the full scholarship. Your essay was very passionate and very thorough, very focused on helping others. So it was wonderful. So now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to kind of get you into when you're actually completing your coursework and then eventually your dissertation. So tell us a little bit about your feelings about the extra support and resources that were accessible to you during your program.
First, I'd just say the professors, they, many of them would, the most important part is I like that one-to-one contact. I really like, and again, that's another reason that drew me to NCU is that one-to-one. I'm just somebody who needs to have that reciprocation. And so, the most important resource to me, I think, were, my professors. So just talking before the dissertation process, I had some very knowledgeable professors that took time out of their valuable days, to actually take one-to-one Zoom sessions with me, answer very, questions that were very sporadic in my mind and didn't even make sense. And yet that the professors just really kind of knew what I was talking about. So, that was probably the most important resource. Leading into the dissertation, my dissertation committee, and most importantly, my dissertation chair, Dr. Collins. Dr. Rebecca Collins is immediately, I had her for a class too, and that's, kind of also why I chose her, or, she chose, the committee was able to come to me, and it almost felt like I chose her. I got very lucky, and again, there was also many other professors that I was kind of keeping in close contact with, that were potentially trying to have me with them too. But Dr. Collins, I just kind of looked up to her as like this, lack of a better word, like a god. Like she was so cool, and all of this experience that she had, and I just was so curious about how she got to where she is today. And she just sat down with me again on her time and just to talk to me about her roles that she had in Wisconsin and, how it got her to where she's living now. And so that really, really sustained and developed and promoted our relationship. So, those are the people resources, the humans, moving into the library, the NCU library was really, really user-friendly. And I got to use it so much, not just for my coursework, but looking up actual research for my students. And I mean, it has got me to this successful point where I am at today with just my students, not even just my dissertation. So the resources were just really accessible in the coaching center. And that's going to be my last point, was amazing, especially in those final hours of the dissertation, going to the IRB, the Institutional Review Board. That's a tough process, and you really have to have your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And they didn't give you answers, which was important, because they're not writing your dissertation. They're not helping you with your coursework. They led you to the water. And so that was a very positive experience for me. So, again, the one-to-one contact, just having my dissertation community, especially Dr. Collins. And then number 3, our academic success center, the coaching corner, and it just was invaluable for me. So those are my favorite resources through the school.
Well, Michael, sounds like you've had a lot of really good experiences, not only, with the support and access to these resources, but also with your doctoral committee. So that's really super to hear. Couple more questions, a little bit, and maybe we'll turn this into some advice for others. But I kind of want to start with this. Kind of thinking back overall, what was the most positive aspect, or what was the best thing about your doctoral learning experience? And then maybe what are some advice for students who are thinking about starting this journey of earning their doctorate? So kind of what was the overall most positive kind of thing? And then maybe what's some practical advice, or maybe even some emotional advice, because it is an emotional experience, like you mentioned before. It's a journey. But kind of start there, and let's kind of see where this goes.
Well, Dr. Riggle, I think in your words there, the process, right? I think I really, the process was difficult, but I enjoyed it. And so, the most rewarding thing, the most positive aspect was that dissertation defense. And again, like I just was so proud of it and privileged to have you there. I was so privileged to have my family, my staff in my classroom.
I think your mom and dad were also in attendance, correct?
Yeah, mom and dad, my paraprofessionals.
Your boss?
My boss, my big boss. And so that, I'm getting the chills thinking about it. That was the most rewarding and positive experience ever, was just that. And, and again, the process that goes with it. And, Dr. Riggle, I'll kind of allude to some of the emotional things, but, again, we work so hard, and for lack of a better term, I do have a term that I use, and it's called embrace the suck. Things that suck, you just have to embrace it. And I think that's what makes you better. I tell it to my athletes, my students are a little bit lower functioning, so I don't quite use that term there, but for kids that just want to go and pursue something very difficult, you just have to embrace it, because it's not easy. If it was easy, the statistic out there that less than 1% of people in the world hold doctorate degrees. And so it's not for people, to put it this way, people who think that they're like, I'm not smart enough. I was one of those people who think the same thing, and I still do. It just really is about your passion. And so, that passion and that process that leads you up to that final day, again, is the most rewarding thing. And so I think what comes with this is the emotional part, right? What is my advice in terms of when those emotions were coming up? People think I'm probably really crazy, but I was learning sign language at the time, running a full-time classroom, coaching full-time, had a child, had two children throughout the process, and also decided that we're going to go take advantage of the housing market, and we're going to move as I'm submitting to IRB. And so it was like the most craziest thing ever, but I wouldn't do it in any other way. And so it was very emotional in the sense of that, are things going to get approved? You need to have your committee. You need to have people that are supportive. And then number two, and probably the most important thing, is your family. And you're going to feel those frustrations of writer's block, and I am so redundant here, or I have looked at this thing 10,000 times and no one's going to even understand what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm saying. And people are going to crumble this up and they're going to throw it away. And it was very emotional, but I managed my time effectively. And then that's the most cliche thing you can ever hear. I woke up at 3 a.m. to start, and then I would go to work at 6:30, and then I would come home from a track meet around 8:30, eat, and then start working around 10 o'clock until about midnight or something. But that worked for me, and I wouldn't do that all the time. So you have to find what works for you, because it's okay to be emotional, but once your emotions are not in check, you're not a good father, you're not a good brother, friend, teacher, not any of that. So you have to keep the end in mind, but you also have to make sure that you use your supports that are around you, and that's your committee, your family, and people who are supporting you in this. So again, my overall advice to support yourself through this is just having that committee of family members, your NCU committee, your NU committee, and just reminding yourself that, hey, I'm doing this because I chose to, and that people are supporting me because they know I'm going to be able to do this. And though what I'm looking at right now is not the finished product, that end reward, like I just kind of talked about at the beginning of this question, that dissertation, that defense, is the coolest moment ever.
Yeah, especially when they call you doctor at the end of it. That's powerful. But Michael, it sounds like just listening to you, it's very clear you're very passionate about what you do professionally and what you do as a teacher, as a father, other roles that you play. But I think it's your passion that really helped drive you through this program. And when that passion or that emotion got difficult, you reached out to other people, other resources, and you leaned on them. The point being is you weren't afraid to ask, hey, look, need a little help here. Or what do you think about this? Or am I doing okay? And checking in with those other important people, whether they're your family members, other support personnel at the university, as well as, your doctoral committee. But I try to tell students that don't be afraid to reach out, take advantage of all the resources that we offer. And if you're really struggling, say, hey, can we reset here? How do we work through this? What's the best way that I can receive some help? But obviously your passion helped you with all of those aspects. So one final question. What do you plan to do? And I know you got this question at your defense, but it's a very, very important question. Now that you've gained all this new knowledge and skills, and you are now ready to go out and take on the world as a person with a doctorate, what are you going to do with your doctorate to help others?
Yeah, and kind of this conversation goes full circle, where again, when I was deciding to do this, how can I go and make the most positive impact? How can I go and share my information? How can I go teach other teachers to be passionate about what they do? And I feel like that this was the most appropriate avenue. Getting called doctor, it's cool, right? Except when you don't see it on your nameplate at a wedding, that's come on, just give me one, But I don't correct people, especially my students in my classroom, because again, what I want to do with this is I just want to keep continuing to be me, but at a higher level. Immediately once I finished this doctorate, I went and I proposed a position to my district. Which is in the works right now, in schools and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to get funding to go and fund positions. But again, my boss, as we talked about, was on it, and she understood the value in the research that I provided. I was able to take my experiences and write up a professional proposal that just couldn't be denied, that just had problem, purpose, just a mini dissertation into there. And so I got to leverage that. And so really what I'm taking from my experiences at NCU and the doctoral experience is just leveraging all of that to get me to where I want to be. And again, I don't think any of us know where we fully want to be until things just happen. And so this doctoral experience makes things happen. It really does. Dr. Riggle, you said right at the end, your doors are just going to be opening, and you're right, they are. People think and expect you're going to go be a principal now and all of that. No, I'm here to keep sharing more information. I started on Twitter right away after that. I just started sharing out my experiences and the big components from my dissertation, just so that the rest of the world can hear about this. So with my doctorate, wrapping all that up there, all I want to do is go and change lives and get myself and my foot into the door to universities to build my way to become, a professor, where my dream is to sit in front of a big lecture, hall of students, and just talk about my love, my passion, why I think special education and these students should just be loved and embraced, and the difficulties they encounter, and just make better people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Dr. Arrigotti. We certainly appreciate all your comments here, and you make the university proud, and I'm sure you're going to go on and do some wonderful things, not only for others, but also yourself and your family. So we certainly wish you the best, and I know you're going to stay in touch as an alumni. We're one big family forever here now. But again, congratulations. We couldn't be more proud of you, and I certainly appreciate you taking the time to really be passionate about your feelings and thoughts regarding your doctoral experience. So thank you. It's back to you, Sam.
Thank you both so much for spending time with us today. Michael, your story, your wisdom, your heart will do so much for those who are following in your footsteps. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
To all those out there, be on the lookout for additional episodes in the coming weeks from others in the NU community. And until next time, goodbye.